with the latest updates and insights on world news as it relates to Bible prophecy. Here's Alan Horvath. This is what the LameStream Media is not telling you.
Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this week's newscast. The Supreme Court declared nationwide right to same-sex marriage. Until Friday, June 26th, there were only 14 states left that had a ban on same-sex marriages. But in support of continuing the destruction of the Constitution of the United States of America, on Friday, June 26th, those 14 states became history. 5 of 9 judges enforced their law, bringing greater judgment from Abba Father upon America. And now, homosexuals may marry anywhere in the United States of America. American democracy has died, my friends. Perhaps someone should play taps while we observe a moment of silence over the death of the Constitution of the United States of America. Governments did not create marriage. Elohim did. And yet, 5 unelected judges have willfully moved to redefine what Yahweh Elohim himself ordained. Elohim defines marriage as a sacred union between one man and one woman, as our Messiah Yeshua confirmed in Matthew chapter 19, verses 4, 5, and 6, elaborating on Genesis 2, 23 and 24, saying, "Haven't you read that He who made them from the beginning made them male and female, and said, for this reason a man shall leave his father and his mother, and shall be joined inseparably to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh? So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what Elohim has joined together, let no man or court of law put asunder." In Romans chapter 1, verses 18 through 32, through Shaul, that's Paul, Elohim warns societies that turn away from him and his word, societies and people that reject Elohim as creator. 3 times in this passage, he warns that he will cause societies and or persons that reject him to slide deep into heterosexual and homosexual sin, among other sinful practices. And by the way, I have a video about homosexuality. You'll see this graphic at the end of this video, and also a text link in the more info section beneath this video. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. Abba Father Yahweh gives a very clear warning that such societies and or persons, including those who approve of those practicing homosexuality, will face judgment through his wrath in the tribulation. An indescribable, one time only in all of world history event, which we are heading towards at breakneck speed. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 37, Yeshua says, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Bane of Adam," that is, at the coming of the Messiah, Yeshua. Now, everyone is familiar with Sodom and Gomorrah, but not everyone knows that Sodom and Gomorrah legalized homosexuality through laws passed by judges and the courts of the day, just as we saw happen here in America last Friday. Further, the Malachim, the angels, could not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah until Lot was safely away, just as the tribulation will not begin until the called out ones are taken safely away in the Net Chatef, the rapture. And in Genesis chapter 19, verse 24, we see Yahweh, number one, rained on Sodom and Gomorrah. Fire and brimstone from Yahweh, number two, out of the Shamayim, the heavens. There are two Yahwehs there, the Father and his Son, just as the tribulation brings the wrath of Yahweh and the wrath of Yeshua. Just a note. I have more to share with you about all this at the end of today's newscast, which, trust me, you will not want to miss. But first, let's take a look at wars and rumors of wars. On Wednesday, June 24th, Iraqi forces repelled an attack from ISIS on the town of Husaybah in the Anbar province, and a number of ISIS militants were killed in the attack. On Thursday, June 25th, the official IRNA news agency reported that 8 Iranian volunteers were killed in fighting against ISIS in Syria. Also, a miniature drone penetrated Israeli airspace, crashing in Israel near the border fence with Gaza. Then on Friday, June 26th, the Vatican signed a two-state solution pact with Palestine. So much for obeying Joel chapter 3, verse 2, where we read, I will gather all nations, Abba Father speaking, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And there I will deal with and execute judgment upon them for their treatment of my people, my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and because they have divided my land. And P.S. The 70th Assembly of the United Nations happens this coming September 15th, and the dividing of Yahweh's land will certainly be a strong point of that assembly. A Palestinian terrorist opened fire on IDF soldiers at a checkpoint in the Jordan Valley on Friday. The soldiers fired back and wounded the terrorist. And ISIS launched a two-pronged offensive in northern Syria, re-entering the town of Kobani. And then in southern Syria, an alliance of rebel groups, including the Al-Qaeda affiliate Al-Nusra Front, also attacked government-held areas of the city of Daraa. On Saturday, June 27th, Kurdish forces drove ISIS out. However, clashes continued outside the town, and the civilian death toll, already well over 100, is expected to rise as the search for bodies continues. Then on Sunday, June 28th, a Palestinian woman with a rifle was caught trying to cross the West Bank security fence into Israel. She told security forces she had been sent by Hamas to carry out a shooting terror attack. And on Monday, June 29th, a female IDF soldier was stabbed by a female attacker at a checkpoint between Jerusalem and Bethlehem. And earlier on Monday, an Israel border police officer stopped a Palestinian teenager armed with an assault rifle at an Israeli checkpoint north of Jerusalem. The IDF is on high alert due to the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, which usually brings a spike in violent incidents. And now, I have a special treat for you, my friends. As I pointed out at the start of today's newscast, great judgment from Elohim is about to come down on America. And to further elaborate on this, I have Scott Clarke here with me from San Francisco, California. Scott produces videos which he offers on YouTube. His channel is Eternal Rhythm Flow, and runs a website, erfministries.com, which has videos, articles, and more information about these exciting end times. Welcome to the newscast, Scotty. It's really great to have you here, my friend.
Thanks, Alan. It's good to be here.
As you know, I opened the newscast with a report about last Friday's Supreme Court ruling concerning same-sex marriage. Forgive me for laughing. It's just that, there's so many ridiculous things going on. But I opened with that story and how that is going to bring judgment against America from Abba Father Yahweh, Elohim. How do you see this action affecting our country? And take some time. Tell us how you view it in terms of Bible prophecy.
That's a big one, Alan. I find it very interesting that in reading, recently I've been reading the book of Yashar or Jasher, and in chapter 19 it really goes into, it's sort of a magnifying glass into what we read about Sodom and Gomorrah. And it turns out that what you see in that chapter is that it was the judges who had they upheld laws that were a total corruption in those cities surrounding, and really sick stuff going on. And it's just so interesting that 5 judges the other day out of 9 decided to blanket the United States of America with a law, a judgment on what would happen for all the states, which should have their own sovereignty to make up their own decisions about these laws, that same-sex marriage was going to be the law of the land. And that's totally just detestable. It's an abomination to the Father Yahweh. And he doesn't stand for that for very long. We've seen that in the scriptures. Once it gets to a certain point, it's over. That's it.
Yeah.
And it's the other day when this all happened, the day that it happened, I went outside and there was fireworks and explosions and all kinds of stuff happening. People were celebrating this. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, as you said, and it's like my spirit was just brought down so far. I've been in I really was in a bad mood yesterday. I was just really upset about this because it just seems like it's just this pride. They're just the pride, and we see that in 2 Timothy. Just that the lawlessness and the pride in the last days would be like this. Gay pride, all this stuff. They just want to put it in our faces. A nation that was founded on Christian principles, on the scriptures, on the words of our Savior and his Father. And
is it Timothy where it says, the pride on their faces is, boldly shown?
Yeah, I could find it. I think I have it here.
Well, I can put it up in a little text thing on the screen. We can do that later. But, I understand how you feel. We see everyone in love with the world really being blinded by it, forgetting any kind of a relationship with our Creator, Abba, Father, Yahweh, and His beloved Son, Yeshua, our Messiah, who paid for all of our sins. We can see the last days, the darkness is getting thicker. People don't see, they're watching, young people are watching shows like The Walking Dead, and they think it's really cool. And how can that be? It's hard to believe, but it shows the blindness, the lack of vision that people have about what they're actually doing. Satan's keeping them ramped up in all this activity, and I guess that's what you were looking at.
Yeah, there's so much darkness. The kids are growing up these days. Video games, it's all about war and killing. And the TV shows, the vampires, the werewolves, the zombies. It's just death and death and death and sickness and then it goes into all the even darker stuff when it comes to the flesh, what people want to do, and that's what this law is all about. Reading the scriptures, it's all about lust. These people, I saw a headline saying, "Love wins," the other day, and it's not love. They don't know love. Yahweh is love. They don't love him. They don't care about his authority. They don't care about his law. They don't care about what he says. They don't love him. They don't know love. They don't know it's lust.
They're using love too. The gays and the lesbians are saying, God is love, and if he's love, how could he condemn what we're doing?
They don't know love. This is all lust. They want to do with their flesh what they want to do with their flesh.
Lovers of themselves.
They transpose lust for love and vice versa. They think they don't even know. They're just blind. They're in darkness, and the judge is doing this to the entirety of America. It's the 21st nation to do this. The number 21 in Ed Vallow's book, Biblical Mathematics, it actually says that it is the exceeding sinfulness of sin. And I just found that very interesting. On top of that, the law was given, or the judgment was given, and it's to be 21 days until, I should say, the opponents have 21 days to form a secondary argument against this law, but it's to be 3 weeks, 21 days until it goes into effect.
3 sevens.
And 21 means the exceeding sinfulness of sin. So I just, moving on to sort of a subject that I find connected to that, is that this is a judgment by judges. They made a judgment to do this to America. Right. And it just so happens that we are in a Shemitah year, which is the 7th year of a 7-year period.
Right. And
that it's the year of judgment. And if we look back, Mark Biltz said in his book that when the Shoemaker-Levy comet broke into 21 fragments and hit Jupiter, that he said that the Ruach was telling him that in 21 years something big was going to happen. And we've seen that 21 years split up into 3 sevens. 7 years after the Shoemaker-Levy comet broke into 21 fragments, the 7th year was a year of judgment, and that is when 9/11 happened and the Twin Towers fell as a judgment, a warning. And this is all Rabbi Jonathan Cahn's work. And of course, there was an economic collapse with that. Right. 7 years from that, the 7th year, a Shemitah year, a year of judgment, 2008.
2008.
It happened again.
Right.
And then 7 years from 2008, a Shemitah year, the year of judgment. We're here right now. The connection to that is a very specific day. It's called Elul 29. It's the last day of the Jewish calendar, and it happens right before the Feast of Trumpets. It's the last day of the year. It's like on our Gregorian calendar, it's New Year's Eve.
And Elul 29 is always, it's kind of famous, isn't it, as a date throughout history?
Well, Rabbi Jonathan Cahn's work will explain all of that in greater detail. But we're seeing it's supposed to be a blessing. It's supposed to be a time of renewal, that all debts are forgiven. Right. It's a much bigger subject than we want to go into here. But if his laws are not abided by, it turns into a curse. And of course, we're going completely the wrong direction, and it's been a curse. We've had warnings 14 years ago.
And isn't this a greater time of judgment, not only because 2015 is a Shemitah year, the last year of the 7-year Shemitah cycle, but also because this Shemitah cycle and this Shemitah year is the close of 7 Shemitahs,
49 years.
7 squared, 49 years. So we're expecting even greater judgment than what usually comes in a Shemitah year.
Right. It's like the big finale.
Right.
Until the Jubilee year. And connected to that, we are in the blood moon tetrad. That has obvious connections. Right. You've seen my videos. You've seen probably Mark Biltz's work on that. Many people have been talking about that for a while. I've been doing it since 2011, talking about this. And, these tetrads are connected to Israel on very specific festivals. They are appointments. And that doesn't happen. These eclipses don't happen again the way that they've happened in the past. When Israel came back in their land as a nation in one day, prophesied, fulfilled. They got Jerusalem back, prophesied, fulfilled. Tetrad. What's going to happen now? I've been saying for years and years that most likely they're going to get more land again because they keep creeping in on getting their land back, possibly a temple being rebuilt. And we are in this tetrad right now, and we've got a finale.
Pardon me, but getting land back, we're looking at Psalm 83, which I believe is going to be the next major event. Right.
Everything is coming together. Everything is coming together. We're looking at Isaiah 17, all the word about Damascus happening.
And there's not another tetrad for how many years?
500 years. We don't have another tetrad to fall on the appointed times.
Right.
And it's not over yet. We've got a finale blood moon. That is a super moon. That is a moon that is at its closest time of the month to the earth, which makes it look bigger. That falls on an actual full moon. That full moon actually falls on a full lunar eclipse. That full lunar eclipse happens on a feast day. That full lunar eclipse is a super blood moon that rises over Jerusalem.
Well, boy.
And that's the finale of the tetrad.
And we're looking right at it.
That's coming up. It's coming up soon. And right before that is another eclipse. It's a partial solar eclipse that happens right on Elul 29.
Boy, oh boy.
So,
Scotty, I'm so happy, man, that you decided to do this with me. Do you have any more to add to that?
Oh, I'm sure we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, we could do this for another hour. But, I just want to thank you so much, man. I'm sure everyone watching and listening feels the same way. And Abba willing, this is the first of many more to come. Again, thank you for joining me joining with me on this one, my friend.
Hey, Alan, can I add one last thing?
Sure, man.
As it says in Matthew and Mark and in Luke that in the end times, it will be as in the days of Noah and Lot.
Yeah.
We talked about Sodom and Gomorrah. We know Lot was in there. That's the nephew of Abraham. Abraham argued for a little bit with Yahweh about will he actually destroy those cities if there are 50 righteous? Yahweh said, no. For the righteous sake, I won't. He said 45. No, I won't destroy the righteous. 40. No. 30. No. 20. No. 10. No. He will not destroy the righteous with the wicked. And so he sent messengers to get Lot out because he was righteous. And in 1 Corinthians 1:30, I think it says, Yeshua is our righteousness. We are not righteous in and of ourselves, but because we believe in him, because we have his blood covering us, we are righteous. So my hope is that if this situation plays out similarly, that we will be taken. That we will be taken before the judgment, the real judgment, the destruction comes upon us. And as you and I both know and believe, it makes so much sense that the Feast of Trumpets, which is the next couple of days after Elul 29.
Yep. Yom Teruah.
It's coming.
Yeshua Tzikenu. That's our righteousness. And, I've never been so hopeful that this Yom Teruah is Abba Father's Moed. His Kodesh appointment to bring those whom he has chosen as a gift for his son home. Of course, We can't get hung up on trying to own it. But boy, oh boy, this looks like it, and I really am very hopeful that it is it. I can't wait to go home and see the glory of His Malchut, His kingdom, and what we get to enjoy forever with no more darkness. I'm, very eager to go home. I hope it is this year.
Yeah, we're not prophesying anything. People take this stuff out of context. They see a video and they think, you said. No, we're not saying anything.
We're just hopeful, man.
We're hopeful. We're just hopeful. We're seeing signs being put together. We're trying to make sense of it. That's all this is.
Right.
And we're just hopeful to go home.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Let's do this again soon.
Thanks for having me, Alan.
All right, shalom, Scott.
Shalom, Alan.
And that, my friends, is what the LameStream Media is not telling you. Abba willing, I'll see you here again next week. Until then, stay safe. Shalom.
Make sure you hit that like button on YouTube, Facebook, or anywhere else you see it. You can share this video with all your favorite networks by clicking the share button below this video. For weekly insightful newscasts by Alan, make sure you click that YouTube subscribe button.
I don't like crowded rooms, I need more space than I consume. Enough is time alone with you, underneath the naked moon, sharing confidential moods and making chatter. Mockingbird nocturnal sings notations of eternal things, entering the quantum breeze, flying not for want of wings. He lights his gaze on you and me, simply because we matter.